Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Cimnanya, and thank you all so much for all the love and support. Hope you all are doing great. Today, we'll be talking something very important. And before we get into this video, I am going to ask, why is it that Black people always want to question how Black people get their wealth, how they got their degree, and every other thing? Why do they always want to know if Black people are like, they not even want to know? Like when they see a Black doctor or a Black nurse or a Black pilot and all that, to them, they assume that the person probably got the degree or something through an illegal way or something. I don't know. They don't see Black people as people that can rise or above them, because for somebody to make a statement like this, if I see a Black pilot, I would ask myself, is he really qualified, or maybe he got the degree through back door? And the person saying that I will know if they are qualified does not even have any degree. And we talk about white privilege. They sit back and tell us that there is nothing like white privilege. Is it not white privilege already for you to sit back and talk about someone that got degree and you do not have anything? And you are not just talking about that person in a good way, but in a bad way. You know what? I am just going to roll this clip. We'll come back to talk about it. Let me know what you all think in the comments. So let's get into it.
I'm sorry, if I see a Black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
What's up, everyone? Coach D speaks with the Midas Touch Network. So if you don't get anything else out of this video, what I want you to get out of it is that diversity does not mean less qualified. And this goes more so for the children of color out there, gay kids, trans kids, little girls out there. If you're ever at your place of employment or your school and anyone talks about how that school or that employer believes in diversity, equity, and inclusion, don't ever look at yourself and wonder if you were accepted to that school or employed by that job for any other reason than your exceptionalism. Because diversity does not mean less qualified.
And that's why I think this United story and the DEI story hits so hard, because we've all been in the back of a plane when the turbulence hits, or when you're flying through a storm and you're like, I'm so glad I saw the guy with the right stuff and the square jaw get into the cockpit before we took off. And I feel better now thinking about that.
No, I mean, you want to go thought crime? Like, I'm sorry, if I see a Black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Well, that's the you wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't have done that before.
That's not an immediate.
No, you wouldn't have done that before.
That's not who I am. That's not what I believe.
It is the reality the left has created.
First of all, we already knew this. There's not a Black person in this country that didn't already know that there were white people in this country who have the same opinions of the 4 white guys on that panel. I went to grade school in New Orleans, Louisiana in the 80s. And even back then, our Black teachers, coaches, vice principals, and principals always told us that we had to work harder because there are people out there who will always think that you got something because you were Black. So we've always known that we've had to outwork everyone just to get half the respect. I was in college in the 90s. During that time, I was on the track and field team. And myself and a lot of my Black teammates would talk about this way back then. We would always talk about how we had to carry ourselves in public, in school, and in interviews just to get an inkling of the respect that we would get if we were white. After college, 20 years ago, when I got the job that I'm in right now as a professor and a coach, I went to one of my favorite teachers, my high school algebra teacher, who was white, and asked him for a letter of recommendation. While handing me that letter 20 years ago, he says to me, you know, Demetrius, I'm really proud of you. And even if you're getting this job because they needed to hire a few more Black people, doesn't mean that you can't do great things. I was absolutely floored. Imagine how you'd feel when you were a good student, an exceptional athlete, had already been a successful coach and educator, and then be told by one of your favorite teachers that you're not getting the job because of your extraordinary credentials, but because you're Black. Imagine the gut punch that I felt. And that was 20 years ago. So when the guys on this panel say that this is something new or the reality that the left has created, no, we've always been told this because we've always known that there are racist white people who don't think Black people are ever going to be good enough. And still to this day, 20 years later, the same friends and I who were in college together still talk about the same thing. And even though we are all exceptional fathers, successful business owners, doctors, professors, teachers, counselors, public speakers, and etc., we still work our butts off and know that there will still be racist people who don't think we're doing enough. I've personally been recognized as a successful educator and a coach by my peers and my administration, but I know that I have colleagues that still don't think I'm good enough. This is nothing new to us. What is crazy to us is that there are black people like Herschel Walker, Tim Scott, Candace Owens, and Terrence Williams who want to be a part of this club. And understand, these guys on this panel, they say these same things when black conservatives are around. Black conservatives have to stand around, listen to guys like this, make jokes, and say things like, hey, I hope you're qualified. And they just stand there and they take it. This is nothing but racism. If you watch this video and say that this is anything else but racism, you either don't know what racism is or you're being willfully ignorant. But then it gets worse, because to them, when they're ever talking about diversity or anyone being unqualified, they're talking about black people. So that is why Charlie Kirk makes this next racist statement as well.
Yeah, this is so easy to me. I don't want LaQuisha James.
They have
who
that like
comes up
pilot voice.
and she's just like, "Hi, ladies and gentlemen, pray for me."
And the truth is, it's just this is a creation that the left wanted.
If you don't think those guys aren't sitting around saying the N-word with the hard ER when the cameras are off, you just don't get it. And this is the club black conservatives want to be a part of. And again, if you get nothing else from this video, please get this. Diversity does not mean less qualified. There are millions of other black people at their job right now, doing more, going above and beyond, because they know that there are racist white people looking over their shoulders that have the same opinions of the guys on this panel. And last night while I was doing research for this video, I started looking up stories about white pilots who showed up to work intoxicated or with a firearm, or who had gotten in trouble for sexual assault or showed up on drugs. And then I thought to myself, you know what? I don't want this video to become me being like these guys, because I know that those of us who are not racist understand that those people exist. However, they get a pass from racist white guys like the ones on this panel. You'll never hear them talk about someone not being qualified because they're white, or someone engaging in nefarious activities because they're white. Like, they don't talk about white pilots who are not qualified. They don't talk about white police officers who are not qualified, or white doctors, or white teachers, or white realtors, or whoever that are not qualified. Because as a racist, black people can be grouped together, but not white people. So again, to the kids out there, always know your worth. Know that despite what they say about you, you're exceptional, you're qualified, and you're definitely worthy. Period.
This is absolutely a very beautiful video. I reacted to it on Niacin, but not this particular one. And Coach D Speaks came really through, and I don't know why, but I have really been asking, why would somebody why do they wake up all the time and all they want to do is to question black excellence, black people's success, black wealth, and how far, you all know how hard black people work to get whatever they want, how hard they work to be where they are right now. And as a black pilot, a black pilot will have to work harder, because you all know that the math ain't always mathing when it comes to how hard they pay and everything. So, but still, with everything, black people work so hard to become what they are and all that, they still have to question how good or how qualified you are. And I don't know, they totally forgot that they are the ones that is benefiting more, that benefited so much more when affirmative action was not struck out. I really do not understand. Now, I do not have any problem with people that do not have. Now, look at somebody, Charlie Kirk does not have any degree, right? And he is seated with other people that look like him, talking about a pilot. I mean, if I see a black pilot, I will be like, is he really qualified to be that? Is this not white privilege? Sometimes I am like, I have seen some of them also question black doctors, saying that if I see any black doctors, I am also going to ask, are they qualified? And the people saying they are going to ask if they are qualified do not also have the degree. And I have also seen video where a colored man was like almost dying, and they took him to the hospital, and the doctors and nurses that were there were black people, and he said no, that he does not, he would rather than being attended by black doctors. And I am asking, and they still sit back to tell us about white privilege, that there is nothing like white privilege. And they sit back to tell us that there is nothing like racism. But when the racism is blankly like, looking at them and they are looking at us, what is it with them with black people's excellence? What is it with them with black people's success? What is it with them that they want to question everything black people get? See you all in my next video. Bye for now.